My fist strikes the water for the 1,000th time, each impact echoing through the silence of midnight. Blood from my knuckles clouds the barrel's surface, but I cannot stop. Not tonight. Not when I'm so close to understanding. They say a man's greatest battle is fought in the depths of his darkest hour. For me, that hour came in 1970, when every technique I had mastered, every fight I had won, every teaching I had learned, suddenly felt hollow, empty, like a cup so full it had lost its purpose. The water ripples beneath my bleeding hands, and in its reflection, I see not just my face, but the faces of millions searching for their truth. You. Yes, you who are listening right now, seeking answers, in a world that keeps telling you who to be, how to move, when to strike. But what if everything you've been taught about strength is wrong? What if the very walls you've built to protect yourself are the ones keeping you from your greatness? That night, as my blood mixed with water, I discovered something that shattered everything I thought I knew about power, about life, about the ultimate truth of human potential. A discovery that would either break me completely or revolutionize not just martial arts, but the very way we understand human consciousness. The choice I made next would change everything. And the truth I'm about to share with you, it's the same truth that has the power to set you free if you're ready to listen. Let me take you back to 1967, to a moment that changed everything. I had spent years mastering Wing Chun, perfecting every movement, every technique. I had already founded Jeet Kune, my expression of limitless martial arts, but something was still gnawing at my soul. That night, in 1970, as I struck the water, I finally understood the full depth of what I had begun years before. You see, in 1967, I had already realized that every traditional style says, this is the way. But I had discovered something profound. Truth in combat, just like truth in life, has no way. The ultimate way is to have no way. I had been trying to express someone else's truth, follow someone else's path. And I know you understand this feeling. The weight of expectations, the rigid patterns others have laid out for your life. That's why I created Jeet Kune, not just as a new martial art, but as a revolution of the spirit. I stripped away the unnecessary, questioned every pattern, every technique, every belief. Why do we move this way? Why do we think these thoughts? Why do we accept these limitations? Each time I stepped into combat since then, I discovered that true power comes not from adding more knowledge, but from stripping away the artificial, the decorative, the unessential. Like sculpture, we create beauty not by adding material, but by removing everything that isn't the truth. But here's what most people don't understand. This path of liberation comes at a price. When I broke from tradition, voices rose. This is not the way. You're destroying centuries of wisdom. Who do you think you are? These same voices, don't you hear them in your own life? The ones that say, stay small, follow the rules, know your place. My friend, your prison might not be classical martial arts. Your chains might be your career, your relationships, your own beliefs about what's possible. But I ask you this, what patterns are you following that no longer serve you? What movements of your spirit have you restricted because someone once told you this is the only way? Remember, water has no form, yet it can take any form. It has no style, yet it can adapt to any circumstance. This is your true nature. Not to be bound by one way, but to be free to express yourself honestly in every moment. People often ask me about power. They see the 1-inch punch, the lightning-fast kicks, the raw physical force, but they miss the truth behind it all. Let me share something I've never spoken about before. In my early days of training, I would punch 500 times with each arm. Not 500 mindless punches, but 500 perfect ones. Each punch had to be better than the last. My arms would shake, my muscles would scream for rest, but I kept going. Why? Because I discovered that the moment you think you can't go on, that's precisely when true power begins. But here's what transformed my understanding forever. One day, while training with my wooden dummy, I became frustrated. Nothing was working. My techniques felt forced, my movements rigid. In anger, I struck the dummy as hard as I could and injured my hand. That pain taught me more than 1,000 perfect punches. I realized that power isn't about force, it's about complete awareness. Stop now. Wherever you are, clench your fist as tight as you can. Feel that tension? That's not strength. That's restriction. Now slowly release it. Feel the energy flow back into your hand. That sensation, that's power. That's being like water. When water flows into a cup, it becomes the cup. When it flows into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Water can flow, or it can crash. Be formless, shapeless, like water. This isn't just poetry, this is practical truth. In combat, the moment you try to use force against force, you've already lost. The same applies to every challenge in your life. Let me show you what I mean. Think of your greatest obstacle right now. You're probably meeting it with resistance, trying to power through it. But what if, like water, you could flow around it, find its weaknesses, penetrate its defenses through the smallest opening? Here's a practice I use daily. Stand in front of a mirror, throw a punch, but focus not on the power, but on emptying your mind. Watch how your body naturally finds the most efficient path. No forced movement, no wasted energy. This is the essence of what I call the style of no style. Your mind must become like a still lake, reflecting reality perfectly. No judgments, no resistance, no forced intentions. When you achieve this state, this emptiness, you become capable of anything. This is what I mean when I say, the less effort, the faster and more powerful you will be. Hollywood, 1966. I had just finished a screen test for a major television role. The executives loved my performance, but their words still echo in my mind. The audience isn't ready for an Asian lead. They offered to rewrite the role for a white actor. In that moment, I faced a choice that would define not just my career, but my entire path. You see, my greatest battles weren't fought in tournaments or on movie sets. They were fought in rooms where people tried to shape me into something I wasn't. They said I should play the typical Asian character. Quiet, submissive, speaking broken English. They wanted to water down my philosophy, make my martial arts more theatrical, less real. But remember what I said about water. Water doesn't beg to be accepted. It doesn't compromise its nature. When it meets a rock, it doesn't stop. It flows around it, over it, even through it, given enough time. That's how I approached every obstacle. When they said an Asian man couldn't be a lead actor, I didn't just prove them wrong. I created my own path. I returned to Hong Kong, where I made films my way. The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, these weren't just movies. They were declarations of authenticity in a world demanding conformity. Each of you listening now faces your own version of this battle. Perhaps it's not Hollywood executives, but it's people who want to put you in a box, label you, limit you. They might say you're too old, too young, wrong color, wrong background, wrong education. But understand this, these obstacles aren't your enemies, they're your fuel. Every stereotypical role I rejected, every door slammed in my face, every dismissive comment about my dreams, they didn't stop me. They focused me, sharpened me. Like water building pressure behind a dam, each resistance made me stronger. Here's the truth I learned. The ultimate combat isn't against others. It's against the temptation to become less than who you are. Every time you face discrimination, every time someone tells you to know your place, you have a choice. You can either accept their limitations or, like water, find your own path forward. Listen carefully now, for what I'm about to share isn't just philosophy. It's truth that must be lived. When I first came to America, I was torn between two worlds: the Eastern wisdom of my childhood and the Western drive for progress. But I discovered something powerful. Truth knows no boundaries. I remember teaching a student who was brilliant in technique but couldn't apply it in real life. He could break boards but couldn't break through his own fears at work. I told him, "You don't need fancy moves to live powerfully. You need understanding." Here's the practical truth. Every morning when you wake up, you're entering combat. Your opponents? Fear, doubt, the voice that says, "Stay comfortable." I learned this lesson harshly when my first business failed. I had all the technical knowledge, but I was rigid, trying to force my way instead of adapting like water. Let me give you 3 practices I use daily. First, in any situation that challenges you, pause. Feel where you're holding tension in your mind, your body. That tension is where you're fighting reality instead of flowing with it. Second, when facing a problem, ask yourself, am I being like water or like rock? Problems are like rivers. They require flow, not force. At work, with family, in any conflict, be water, my friend. Third, and most crucial, express yourself honestly, no matter how small the situation. Whether you're ordering coffee or giving a presentation, be authentic. This isn't just advice. It's the key to personal power. Every time you pretend to be something you're not, you lose energy. Every time you express your truth, you gain power. I've seen too many people living half-lives, waiting for permission to be themselves. They study philosophy, but never live it. They know the words, but miss the meaning. Your life is happening now, in this moment. Not in your thoughts about it, not in your plans for it, but in your direct experience of it. My final words to you come from the deepest truth I've discovered in my journey. That night in 1970, as I watched my blood mix with the water, I understood something that would haunt me until my last breath. We are not guaranteed tomorrow. Every moment that passes, it's like that ripple in the water. Beautiful, powerful, but temporary. I've pushed my body to its limits, challenged every boundary, broken through walls of limitation. But the greatest wisdom I've found is this: life is not measured in years, but in moments of true awakening. Look at your hands right now. Feel the life flowing through them. This moment, this exact instant of awareness, this is your power, this is your chance. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Next hour is not guaranteed. You have only this moment to express who you truly are. I leave you with this truth. You are not here to become Bruce Lee. You are here to become yourself, fully, completely, without reservation. The water in that barrel taught me that power flows from authenticity. Your power, your true power, can only flow from being uniquely, fearlessly you. So I ask you one final time, what are you waiting for? The time is now. The power is yours. Be water, my friend. Be yourself.